I'm going to do a demo for y'all today. So first of all, we're going to go through a couple of the things in your kit so that you know what I'm talking about and why. So first things first, in your supplies, you will see that you have one of these. This is going to be your portfolio. So in your your portfolio logo is eventually going to go onto here, and I'm going to show you the beginning stages of how we're going to do that. It's going to go on here 3 times. That doesn't mean you're going to necessarily draw it 3 times, and I'm going to show you why. But it goes on this side of the portfolio, not the flappy side. Flappy side, no. Flat side, yes. It's going to go on that side. In your stuff, so there's this brown Blick bag that has another small bag in it, along with a glue stick, some tape, and a graphite stick. So this thing is pure graphite. And so it is messy. I'm gonna let you know that ahead of time. This thing's really messy. I mean, like literally you wipe it on your hand and you end up covered in graphite. But I'm gonna show you guys how to make transfer paper. So the way we are going to get your logo onto your portfolio is that you are going to make transfer paper. So in this cute little paper bag that's in there, which has all of your different types of paper, so there's tons, nothing in here is trash. In this little paper bag, you are going to see that there are pieces of just regular old computer paper. So there should be 3 sheets of just regular old computer paper, and then there should also be this. Now this is for the next project. I'm showing it to you so you do not use it and you do not throw it away. This is a template for the next project. You need this. So do not throw this away. Please leave it in the bag. But it is on computer paper because I printed them all for you. Okay, so you are going to take a sheet of your plain computer paper and a graphite stick and set that to the side because I am going to show you how to make transfer paper. But first, you need to know a little bit about pencils. So in your same package inside the box, you're going to find this little tin, and it is filled with your artist pencils. They look like the ones you see me using all the time. They do not have erasers on the top, and they're in different hardnesses. There's a scale on the back that kind of outlines those marks for you, but I'm going to also draw it out so you can know what the logic behind that is. So, okay. You guys on some level actually know something about this and you don't know you do. So what kind of pencil do you use to fill out a test?
2.
All right.
2.
We have a number 2 pencil. Now, number 2 might not mean a lot to you. It's actually a very old pencil classification, but it's maintained its name. 2 is also known as HB. So H and B refer to percentages of graphite and clay. So B is the percentage of graphite, and H is the percentage of clay. Now, which of those 2 do you think it makes the pencil softer, the graphite or the clay?
Clay.
Clay.
Graphite.
I just told you that really pure graphite is super soft and messy. Which makes it messier?
Graphite.
Graphite, perfect. So the way you want to think about these 2 letters, if H is hard, B is bold. So if you're looking on the back of your little pencil thing here, it's a little like a pH scale. If we go up this direction, we're also going to be able to go down this direction. So from HB, you have H, 2H, 3H, 4H, 5H, and 6H. So as the number gets higher, the percentage of clay gets larger, which also makes your pencil harder and it makes it lighter in color. Now, I'm assuming that all of you thought, ooh, lighter pencils, that's great. It means I can draw lighter. The problem is, as soon as those things start getting lighter, the lead also gets quite a bit harder. So it's much easier to dent the paper when you use it. There's a reason that a lot of people don't use 6H pencils. It's because erasing them while getting the graphite up is easy. It will basically incise the paper where you've written over it. So you can do some damage to your pages that way. Now, down from this, we are starting with B, 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, and 6B. So this lovely chunk of graphite that you guys have, if you notice, there's a number printed on it, and it is 6B. So it's the softest of the pencils. And in this case, it is just a giant chunk of graphite. Now, as you go down the scale this direction, the larger the number gets, the pencil gets softer, and it gets darker. So I'm going to turn this around so you guys can see it. So there is our pencil scale. So that tells us what our pencil numbers mean. Now, what does this mean for you? So first of all, if you ever don't have a number 2 pencil for a test, you can always use an HB pencil. It's always a nice thing to know. But also, if you want some personal preference things in here, because pencils are largely personal preference, but most artists will live in the 2BB area. Most drafters will live in the H2H area. Now, the reason for using things that are close to the middle is that they're the easiest to erase with the ease of drawing with them. So for instance, if I take something that's 6B and I draw with it, it takes no effort to make a big mark with it because it's really soft and dark. Where if I were to take this 4H pencil that I have over here and make a light mark with it, you can barely see it. Now, when we're looking at this scale, what does it mean for you? I would tell you that generally, when we are drawing, you want to use between a B and a 2H. All of the rest of these generally get used for shading or for other specified purposes. So there are drafters, for instance, who will use a 6H because they want an almost not visible drawing underneath it that they're going to draw over with something else. Many people just like to use HB because it's right in the middle. Personally, there's this weird little number in here called F. You will notice there is an F pencil that doesn't fit in that scale. It's a very old pencil classification, just like the 2 scale. And I will tell you a little secret, F is my favorite pencil. So F is one of my absolute favorite pencils to draw with, and always has been. It's just got a nice blend of being hard and soft at the same time. It's easy to use, it's easy to erase. However, if I'm doing anything that's really sketchy, I will begin to use the B pencils down here. Partially because it just takes a lot less effort to draw with them. So that is what all our pencil hardness means and will mean for you guys. But why did I tell you these things? I told you these things because you are going to be making graphite paper. What you say? What is graphite paper? Okay, so we are going to take one of our little sheets here. And so I have something written on this because I was using it for the demo last time, but I'm going to take my graphite chunk and I am going to cover the back of the page in graphite.
Miss Raw, is this computer paper?
It is. You want this to be thin because you need to be able to press through it, and you will see why in a sec. So I'm going to cover a large section of the back of that in graphite. And I'm just using this thing on its side. And yes, you're going to get graphite all over your hands. Before you transfer anything, generally you want to wash your hands. I wipe them on my dress like a heathen. So, but now, let's say I have a finished logo. I am going to then take my finished logo. I'm just going to use one of my fun examples from the other day. So let's say I have my Corgi logo and it's done. So notice I have put graphite on the back of this. I've put it graphite side down onto what I want to transfer it onto. And now I'm going to lay my actual drawing over it. And I'm going to press relatively hard onto my drawing and copy over the lines as exactly as possible. So I'm just going to do a couple of them so you guys can see. And now, when I pull this up, I'm going to remove my graphite paper. I have an exact transfer of my drawing on that page. So we are essentially making carbon paper. It is something that you can actually use for all kinds of things. It's very handy if you have a drawing and you want to make a copy of it. But that graphite stick will make your life a lot easier with that. So that is how your drawing will get transferred onto your portfolio. But now you say, well, what size does it need to be? So your logo needs to be 5 inches by 7 inches. So how do we make a 5-inch by 7-inch box? So the first thing you need, also, first of all, do I have any lefties in this class?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so I am gonna tell you one thing, Mateus. I will allow you to do a couple of things if you're left-handed in this class. So first of all, your sketchbook obviously is clearly made for a right-handed person, right?
Yep.
If you want to start from the back and turn it into a left-handed person's sketchbook, you absolutely can.
Got it. Thank you.
I have a lot of lefties who will do that. Just my best friend growing up was left-handed and she always complained.
Mhm.
So just kind of
Yeah,
so yeah, so your page won't smear.
perfect. Thank you.
No problem. And also whenever I say that you'll be holding something with your left hand, yours is reversed, you're going to be holding with your right. So if we want to go ahead and draw a 5 by 7 box on one of these, because clearly this sketchbook is a little bigger than 5 by 7. First things first, you're going to need a ruler. So I only have a 24-inch ruler at my house, but a 12-inch ruler will work just fine for you guys. So there are some steps here that I promise you, if you do them exactly every time, you will always make straight lines. Now, I have multiple AP people in here who have taken both design and painting from me. How much of a stickler am I about this?
It's the one thing that, aside from playing audio off of your phone, that you hate the most.
Yeah, I will nitpick this until it is right. Over and over and over again. I have made people redo this so many times because, in fact, there is nothing more frustrating than finishing a piece and realizing that a line isn't straight. So how do you make perfectly straight lines every time? Pray, right? Okay. So you are going to need a ruler. A 12-inch ruler will work, but there are some things that we can assume about paper. First of all, if it has been machined in a factory, I am going to assume that the edges are straight. I think that's a pretty fair assumption. So in this case, I need to make a 5 by 7 box. So I am going to take my ruler and I am going to measure down from the top of the page here. So always be aware of the ruler you're using. Some rulers have a 0 marker that comes after the end of the ruler, where they have like a little guard over here so that the end of the ruler doesn't get messed up. Mine doesn't, but just be aware of the ruler you're using. So I'm gonna go ahead and line up my ruler and make a mark down 7 inches. And then I'm gonna come over here to the perforation on the page, which again, it's machined by a factory. I am going to assume that it is a straight line. And I'm going to come down 7 inches. Now you notice when I did that, I did not pick up my sketchbook. I did not flip my ruler around to the other side. I came from my 7-inch mark here to my 7-inch mark here. I do not move the ruler. Now I promise, do not flip a ruler. First of all, rulers from either end can be less exact from one end or the other. Unfortunately, the world isn't perfect. But also, it's a good habit to get into because then you always know that you're coming up with the same measurement. So if it's uneven on both sides. So now that I have my 2 marks there at 7 inches, I'm going to go ahead and take my ruler and connect those 2 dots. So again, if you're a lefty, you would be putting your ruler on the right-hand side here instead of on the left-hand side. When you hold a ruler, you do want to put a decent amount of force on it so that it doesn't shift down here, because you can easily make a line not straight even if your marks are correct. I'm going to hold my ruler and draw a line between those 2. So now I have my mark at 7 inches. And now this is wider than 5 inches. So I am going to say that I want this perforated line over here to actually be one of the edges of my design. So I'm going to measure from the perforated line and come over here to 5. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here. You notice again, I did not flip my ruler. I moved it from top to bottom. And then again, going to connect my 2 dots and draw a line between them. So anytime you do this, I guarantee you will end up with a straight box and it will be even, it will be the same size. So I want you all to do that in your sketchbook and start finalizing your designs. I've given you all enough feedback that you can at least start working with it. There are some places that you might need to do this again. You might need to make some corrections, but I need you working in the actual size of the logo. So the entire background of this logo will be colored. You have a 24 pack of colored pencils in your things. These are the things you will be using to color. I ask, even if you have other colored pencils, to please use these partially because they adhere the best to the outside of that portfolio. So once your little box is drawn, obviously you have the freedom to use it in either the vertical format or the horizontal format. You just flip the sketchbook accordingly. And I recommend you're probably going to do a few more iterations of your logo, but it'll at least give you the correct size in which to be working. Now remember, you want it to touch the edges. You want your design to fill the frame, and eventually the entire frame will be colored. At this point, if you want to experiment lightly with color, you can, but you will need one version with no color on it so you can do the transferring process. So that's kind of it for me for today. I'm going to let you guys work. I will be here if you have any questions. I'm here to answer them, just say my name. But it is, so go ahead and start putting one of those boxes into your sketchbook and get started on working on finalizing to where your logo is. If for some reason you don't have a sketchbook, yes, what's up, Jacob?
Oh, no, go ahead. You can finish.
Oh, if for some reason you don't have a kit yet, which I know I have a couple in this class, just use regular paper, okay? Same rules apply. Machined edge will allow you to make it straight. Since we're not doing the transferring yet, you don't need the supplies as of this minute, okay?
So Miss Gra, so like
Yep.
just to clarify, to start the sketch, you want us to do it in the notebook right now?
Yes, and I want you to make that 5x7 box first.
Can you like explain that again? Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah. Okay. So we have your sketchbook. I have a bunch of these now. All right. Have your sketchbook. You're going to take your ruler and put the 0 marker on the straight edge of the paper. So I am measuring it. I'm putting it right up to the edge of the page there. I'm making a measurement at 7 inches. I am not flipping my ruler over. I am sliding my ruler down to the perforated line that's on my sketchbook. You'll see that there's like little perforation marks. And I'm going to use that as my straight line and make another mark at 7. I am then going to connect those 2 dots using my ruler. So I'm going to hold my ruler nice and steady and draw a line between my 2 marks. So that means that it is 7 inches. Now, I am also going to come in here and I want to use the perforated edge as one of the edges of my design. So I am going to make a mark over here at 5 inches. Again, not flipping my ruler, just bringing it down to the other straight line that I have already made, because I do have faith in my lines that they're straight enough. If for some reason you are questioning yourself, you can use the bottom edge of the page. And I'm going to make my other mark at 5. Again, connect my 2 marks and draw a line between them. And now I have a space that is usable as a 5x7 space for the logo. Does that make a little more sense, Etienne?
Yeah, thanks.
No problem.
Maybe we'll have a ruler.
Okay, Gio, actually, you've known me for many years now. Gio, in all of the history of you knowing me, even though I can probably draw a straight line without a ruler, how many times have you ever seen me shortcut this?
Not once.
So this is something that I use all the time. This is actually very helpful. I do this when I'm drawing random stuff in like notes. It's good for making graphs. It's good for all sorts of things. Always knowing how to draw a straight line is always a good thing.
Yeah, by the time you're done with this class, you're not going to be able to draw a straight line without even thinking about picking up a ruler first.
Yep, and that's the way it should be. So go ahead and get started, guys. Any questions? Just say my name. I'm going to go refill my coffee. Yes, what's up, Jacob?
I was gonna ask where we can go on Canvas to find like the recording of this, just in case like I need to.
I am going to post it later this afternoon. It will be underneath. You know what? I'm going to make a new module this afternoon. Now that I say that out loud, because I have one that I need to post for painting as well. I will go ahead and make a recordings module for you guys. So there will be a record of this so you can actually see it. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.